Welcome to the news at 6. I'm Doug Petcash. The jury trial for a former high-ranking Caldwell police lieutenant started today. Joseph Hoadley was fired from his job earlier this year. He faces 4 federal felony charges: deprivation of rights under color of law, destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations, tampering with a witness by harassment, and tampering with documents. KTVB has been at the courthouse all day following the trial. My co-anchor and investigative reporter, Morgan Romero, is live there now with what happened. She joins us. Morgan.
Yeah, Doug, for those who've been following along with our coverage, we have been awaiting this federal trial since the spring when Hoadley was first indicted on his initial federal charge. Now, this trial began this morning at 9 o'clock. It went until 5 o'clock. We did get about an hour and a half of a break with lunch. The jury was selected. That took time. It took the whole morning as well as the early part of the afternoon. Eventually, they chose 14 jurors, and this is an extremely critical step in the process. They gave jurors instructions like don't read news articles, don't watch any news throughout this entire process. Given the coverage that a lot of outlets have done in the state of Idaho so far on this, they do expect a lot of people did know about this trial already. To back up for some background, Hoadley was first indicted for allegedly punching a man in the head that he was arresting in 2017 and then lying about it in his police report. The government claims Hoadley violated this man's Fourth Amendment right, which is an alleged civil rights violation. He's accused of using more force than necessary when arresting that guy. The government is trying to prove he knowingly and intentionally did so. And he also had a pattern of knowingly using excessive force. All Hoadley's subsequent charges, so his obstruction or his falsifying or tampering with documents related to this federal investigation, do center around this one incident. Hoadley pleaded not guilty to all 4 federal felony counts earlier this year. Today, we heard opening statements from both sides. First, the prosecution and then defense. They gave their recounts of what happened that day in 2017 when this all transpired. They told very different stories, of course. U.S. prosecutors told the jury that the ex-cop was, quote, supposed to protect the citizens of Caldwell. Instead, they said, quote, he assaulted one. Both, of course, recounted the stories at the center of these charges with those different versions, but they did say no body camera exists from Hoadley. However, body camera does exist from another officer, Amber Walker. Her body camera video caught the incident leading up to the altercation between Hoadley and this alleged victim, but it didn't catch the altercation itself. It then did catch the aftermath of this alleged incident as well. The government called its first witness today, Detective Joseph Caldwell. He testified today in court and said that Hoadley in 2016 showed him a video of him punching a different man in the head who appeared to be handcuffed, who had his hands behind his back. And then Hoadley and other officers were laughing about this. This was at a gang conference in 2016. And Caldwell said this video made him extremely uncomfortable and embarrassed. And today on the witness stand, he got very emotional. He was charged. He was really upset. And the assistant U.S. attorney asked, you know, has this been hard for you? And Caldwell says, yes, this has been extremely hard on my family and on my career. He said this through tears. So again, that was the first witness in this trial. We are expecting this trial to go at least through the rest of the week. We do expect more witnesses to come forward, and the government to, of course, and the defense. The government, it's on them, the burden of proof, to present more evidence, and the defense, of course, to defend Joseph Hoadley in this trial. We reconvene tomorrow morning at 8:45 here at the federal courthouse in Boise, and my colleague Alex Duggan and I will bring you all the latest on social media as well as on air. Doug.
And on KTVB.com too. And Morgan, you kind of touched on it there, but you've been talking to different attorneys as well as former U.S. Attorney Wendy Olson about the length of these trials. And it sounds to me like it's just hard to determine whether they end up being long or shorter.
Yeah, it is. She said that she anticipates it won't go longer than a week. She says these civil rights charges, these trials over civil rights charges typically go faster than expected. However, Chuck Peterson, which is Hoadley's defense attorney, said that this could possibly take 2 weeks. So it remains to be seen. Jury selection, like I said, took all morning, but that is relatively quickly when you compare it to other trials that go on, Doug.
Yeah, maybe could have gone all day. All right, Morgan, thanks for your coverage from there, and we'll see you back here tomorrow as well, of course.